wing walker, Carol Pelon, on the Boeing Super Stearman biplane. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're about to see here, because back in the 1920s and the 1930s, it was a romantic time in aviation when those daring young men and women in their flying machines brought those newfangled contraptions into towns like Duluth, dropping into a farmer's field to give lucky rides to people, often for just a penny a pound. The Boeing Super Stearman started off as a crop duster, well, later after its time with the United States military. Today, it is not flown by Carol Pelon. She's not the pilot, but it is her airplane, because she's not going to be flying in it. She is going to be flying on it. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen, between the wings on what we call the javelin strut. You will see Carol Pelon out there between those two wings of the Super Stearman biplane as she works her way up to altitude, because she's not just going to fly around and have a really nice, enjoyable time, but we're going to see a display of aerobatics flown with her there between the wing and also on the top stanchion of this aircraft that goes back to the 1930s. Stefan Trischuk is the pilot borrowing Carol's airplane so she can do what she does best, wing walk. It's her personal calling. Is it the risk? No. Is it the speed? Sure isn't. And it's not even the adrenaline. Carol says it's freedom, and we have the chance to demonstrate for this today. As she sets up in just a few moments, she stands in as a very small handful of remaining wing walkers on the planet today. What originated as a daredevil stunt in the old barnstorming days has later become the subject of many Hollywood films, including many traveling flying circuses. Even Charles Lindbergh began his career as a wing walker. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at nearly 2,000 feet above the ground, let's welcome from Marshall, Quebec, Canada, wing walker Carol Pelon.
I'm gonna get that.
The staples of any third strike wing walking performance are a bright red airplane, a daring wing walker, and the best pilot skills available, as well as mountains and
they'll be ready to go in about 5 or 6 minutes.
Behind each and every maneuver.
Roger, they're going to go to
Out the United States and Canada has displayed in the United Kingdom. She first saw wing walking on TV for a commercial for her local air show, and it was loved at first sight. She found her calling. Carol has been a professional wing walker since the year of 2000. Now, what sets Carol apart from other teams who may call themselves wing walkers is the fact she does in fact walk the wing and move throughout. And from that position from the javelin strut right now, pilot Stefan has pulled the power back. She's worked her way into the front cockpit and now to the top stanchion of that airplane. She's got to be very careful where she steps, because this aircraft is made with fabric-covered wings. And she can indeed actually poke a hole between the wing roots as they're made out of wood as she makes her move up there. It is a very methodical dance, but she has to move quickly. Otherwise, the incoming wind would make it simply too dangerous for her to do it. You can see her up there now as pilot Stefan has worked their way inbound from the left. This is Canada's only wing walker today. Let's take a look.
Airport 5. Taxi hotel and
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to do that. That aircraft is too tall on the ground, even standing on top floor for me. We're going to watch as she works her way around that big Super Stearman biplane blowing out all that smoke. And we're going to see some more big, beautiful, and bold aerobatics with Carol Pelon on the top wing. Unlike most other airshow airplanes, Carol's biplane has the ability to come apart and be tracked from show site to show site. Once she gets the wings back on, it's just a quick test flight, and it's ready to go for outstanding aerobatics for us once more. We're going to watch as Stefan Trischuk pushes forward and sets up for the airlock
or the regional until you say, and then it'll be about 5 minutes after they start entering.
There's a big barnstorm.
Over to you. 657. Sounds good.
And as that depletes while she's flying upside down, she gets a little lighter in those foot stirrups. She has 2 foot locations on the wing. She has the stanchion in which she is then connected by a lap belt and a couple of carabiners. Those are the only things that are holding her to this airplane. The rest is practice, trust, and, well, the ability to do what she does in a very grand way. Inbound from the left, here's Carol P. Long. Carol has experience with dual wing-walking formation wing-walks and nighttime whatever the world that is, and she simply excels at solo. We hear the roar of that R95 radial engine. It produces about 450 horsepower, and those propeller tips going supersonic at around 2,400 RPMs. Barnstorming at its finest. It was common for the wing-walkers of the barnstorming era to always strike poses, at times looking like a hood ordinance or sometimes like a Drake flag. Carol's going to come by and give you a great look and a great photo opportunity now. This is what she calls the Mercury Man.
Get away for the B-25, they're going down.
You couldn't pay me to do that. Nope, not him. Carol actually owns 2 aircraft. She's an FAA certified airframe technician. She received her solo proclamation in 1990 and received her first jump certificate in 1999 with the Canadian Sport Parachute Association. Carol has performed in front of millions of spectators around North America, and as she likes to say, throttle it up, baby. Inbound from the left, here's Carol Pilon on the top wing as she performs this, the side saddle. Let's give her a big wave.
Are you on the guard side of the ramp or the...
She continues to battle those hurricane force winds, wearing a suit that does reflect things like bugs and raindrops, but you can imagine it's very violent up there. She likes clear weather days like today.
Just getting started.
Working her way in again, low and to the right as she sets up for another photo pass down the line. It is called the human flag. Let's get our cameras on this.
Roger.
And there's the move back into the front cockpit. Let's put our hands together for wing walker Carol Pilon, her pilot Stefan. Gosh, that is so incredibly cool. It's a diminishing art form. There are very few wing walkers to do this kind of thing in today's age. It was a very popular thing, particularly in the golden age of aviation, particularly after World War II, because many of those military primary trainers, like the steermen that we're seeing, went on to serve as
Hey, Boss, we're Duluth Airshow 5. We're on the ground here at Perimeter Road. Just curious on what your thoughts are on a timeline here if we can get back in the air during fifth missile departure and Delta departure.
But today it's
Sorry, was that a Hilo?
practice. Technology, very practiced technique as well, and we have seen it in a great way here today. Now, because it is required, Carol has to step back into the cockpit, sit down, and buckle up for landing. That's just the rules. Here shortly after
in front of the crowd at Alpha
gets
4.
the steerman landed out there and slowed down, she will then climb back onto the top wing once again and give you a big wave, and I hope that you'll give her a big wave back. Carol P. Long from Quebec, Canada.
Stand by one.
Alright, land and wait, runway 27, back taxi, third strike, beautiful flying, beautiful walking, but back taxi to Alpha 4. Okay, back taxi Alpha 4, third strike.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the team at Third Strike Wing Walking. Pilot Stefan Trischuk and wing walker Carol Elon, presented to us by Renewal by Anderson.
Tower boss, you can taxi the CRJ to 27 when you're ready. Roger.
It is now time that we turn back the hands of time with our next display, courtesy of the Minnesota Wing.
And let's want to confirm what part of the service.
In this next demonstration, we will see one of World War II's most legendary bombers, the North American B-25 Mitchell. The commemorative Air Force in all volunteer organization with 13,000 units in all 50 states and 20 foreign countries. It's the world's largest collection of flying vintage military aircraft with the goal to acquire, restore, and conserve combat aircraft in honor of American military aviation. You will see this display featuring one of America's most iconic World War II aircraft as Miss Mitchell has been cleared for takeoff, flown by Mike Manero and Joe Mary. Now on the takeoff roll of the North American B-25 bomber. Of the 9,800 B-25s produced by the North American company, this was their first twin-engine aircraft. 3,400 combined horsepower generated by the twin Cyclone radial engines.
And C-130, take off runway 27. Take off runway 27, 230. And B-25, you're going to hold behind the crowd. Holding behind the crowd for the B-25. And C-130, you're going to hold north of Lake.
The pilots flying for us today are Mike Manero and Joe Mary. Both Mike and Joe are experienced aviators and love nothing more than the opportunity to share this significant piece of aviation history with all of you. It was after the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of 1941 that a plan was devised to attack the Japanese home islands, utilizing 16 B-25 Mitchell bombers operated by the United States Army Air Corps. This top secret raid was led by Jimmy Duluth, accompanied by his co-pilot, that of Dick Cole. Our B-25 working its way inbound from the right. In this raid, I was telling you about a top secret operation. These B-25 Mitchell bombers were launched off an aircraft
we've got a C-130 up, it's going to hold north, and we've got a B-25
and the now famous Duluth
crowd,
raised the morale on the home front and sent a message to the Imperial Japanese.
Airbus Tower copies,
Well,
Delta will be rolling here shortly, we'll keep up runway heading westbound, so they're out of the field.
The genesis for this
Roger,
operation
just reference, we got third strike on the ground taxi, and we got B-38 at Charlie.
Roger,
airspace and ground start.
While the B-25 Mitchell served extensively in every theater of the war, including the Doolittle raid, Marine Corps versions, the PBJs, were used extensively in the South Pacific to attack enemy shipping and air bases. Extremely popular with their air crews, B-25s proved rugged, dependable, and lethal. It was on that day of April 18, 1942 that this raid took place. The B-25 was never built or designed to take off from an aircraft carrier, but they had to get the bombers close enough to mainland Japan to make it happen. And in order to make that happen, their plan was to sail within 300 nautical miles and launch all 16 of the aircraft. They had to reduce weight where they could, including removing the side-mounted machine guns and replacing them with black-painted broomsticks, just as a visual indication in the case that the B-25s would get jumped inbound to their targets on mainland Japan. The task force, including of the USS Hornet, was spotted around 500 plus miles out, and the decision was made early to launch early, not knowing whether or not the B-25s would reach their refueling airfields in China.
I gotta get out of here.
16 B-25s with some 80 men launched from the carrier Hornet.
B-38 at the intersection of Charlie and Alpha. Airfield is back to you. Air and field is back to the boss. Roger. B-25.
Aggression, if you
B-25, ready, airfield.
From a
Field hours,
separate
just the field.
entity, an
Roger.
opposing force in upwards to around 2,000 years. The raid hit the targets. It didn't do that much damage, and in fact, the crew, with Jimmy Doolittle and his co-pilot Dick Cole, made their way to China to their refueling airports. At this point, it was very dark and it was very stormy. A couple of aircraft had to work their way in. Some of them had to ditch. One, running low on fuel, had to run northbound and landed in Vladivostok, Russia, where the crew was interned. It was considered to be a success in the eyes of American leaders. Before the aviators of the Doolittle raid, they thought it was truly a failure. It did not combine a great deal of force as far as destruction to those enemy target locations and those industrial sites throughout Japan. And frankly, Jimmy Doolittle thought he would be court-martialed when he returned. However, the American morale at home was at an all-time low. The fall of the Bataan had just happened as well, but as soon as they landed, the headlines changed.
Tower, the
Proudly
airspace
and
and
boldly
airfield is yours.
celebrated American bombers hit Tokyo. It was the payback for Pearl Harbor.
B-25, shipping inbound. B-25, the aerobatic box is yours. Box is ours, B-25.
At this time, our pilots Mike Manero and Joe Merrick from the Commemorative Air Force Minnesota Wing are inbound from the left. This is a look at what it might have looked like on that day of April 18th of 1942 as the B-25 approaches low and to our left. The B-25, capable of carrying a payload of some 2,300 pounds of bombs internally. You may have noticed the bomb bay doors were open. Right now, the crew is going to reposition for a series of additional flight paths for us down the line. The B-25 bomber was designed as a medium-level bombing aircraft that was introduced in 1941. It was named in honor of Brigadier General William Billy Mitchell, a pioneer of U.S. military aviation. Operated by many Allied air forces, it remained in service well after the war, operating across some 4 decades. It was produced in numerous variants. Nearly 10,000 of these B-25s were built. These included several limited models, such as the F-10 reconnaissance aircraft and the AT-24 crew trainers. The U.S. Marine Corps operated as the PB BJ-1 patrol bomber. The aircraft that you see today, one of just a handful of B-25s still flying anywhere in the world. This one, named Miss Mitchell, was built in 1944 and carries the serial number 4429869. She's one of just a few of these B-25s in airworthy condition out of the nearly 10,000 plus that were built. Those radial engines and power, 3,400 combined horsepower generated by the Wright R2600 twin cyclone engines. In the Pacific, the B-25 and its Marine Corps brethren, the PBJ, were widely used for low-level dive bombing against Japanese naval targets. The attacking aircraft would strafe the ship as it approached and then drop a 500 or 1,000-pound bomb on the vessel as it passed overhead. While the original B-25 was designed for medium-level bombing, Marine crews in the field modified the aircraft into a much more potent weapon. They originally were outfitted with machine guns, only to initially defend the airplane. But up to 14 forward-firing machine guns were installed, making the B-25 a very effective weapon indeed. It was potent in its mission to attack airfields, ships, trains, and convoys, and even one model carried a 75mm cannon in the nose, essentially that of a Sherman tank gun. You can imagine 4 of these B-25s approaching an enemy airfield at treetop level. The Marine Corps PBJs and their Air Force brothers earned the nickname of Treetop Terrors. Miss Mitchell takes her name from the aircraft itself, named in honor of Brigadier General William Billy Mitchell, one of the most influential pioneers of American air power. A controversial and outspoken advocate for military aviation, following World War I, Mitchell was court-martialed for his beliefs, but history proved him right. Here's another pass from the left, the B-25.
B-25's got a photo pass, a 270 behind the crowd overhead. So if you do want to watch the 38, we're good with that after the 10 pass.
It's a spirit carried on today by the members of the Community Air Force Minnesota right here in our home.
Overhead about 12 to 1,500 feet, going left downwind to runway 9. Roger, B-38, you good with that?
We'll observe now as the pilots, Mike Manero and Joe Mary, reposition this initial for another pass down our show line. We continue to listen to the sounds of 3,400 combined horsepower generated by the B-25's 2 Wright R2600 twin cyclone radial engines. During the 1940s, America was at war, and it was felt on the home front as thousands of young Americans made their way to Europe and the Pacific. They left their friends, their families, and colleagues. The average age of an American soldier was only 26 years old. You can imagine what it must have been like, sometimes a recent high school graduate, to be thrown into a foreign and unknown land. Back home, the riveters building everything from bombs, bombers, and bullets. The noise that you hear today from the B-25 will be the sound experienced if you live near an Army Air Corps Marine Corps base.
Air Airbus C-130 established in hold,
RB-25 is
12,900
now setting
MSL.
up for its landing
Roger,
right
thank
now.
you. And you're
The
northbound,
Minnesota
right?
wing of the Commemorative Air
Hey,
Force
we're
is
holding
honored
north.
to be part of this iconic air show here in Duluth. Right outside of South St. Paul and Fleming Field, the wing is just one of many Commemorative Air Force
And
units
B-25,
across
clear
the
land,
country.
P-38 on
The Commemorative Air Force, or CAF,
Land
is a
and 38
non-profit
B-25.
organization whose mission is to honor American
And
military
you'll switch.
aviation through flight, exhibition, and remembrance. More than just a collection of airworthy warplanes from the past, the CAF's fleet of historic aircraft, known as the Ghost Squadron, recreate, remind, and reinforce the lessons learned from the defining moments in American military aviation history. To learn more and perhaps join this all-volunteer network of aviation enthusiasts, stop by the aircraft today and speak with the crew. You can also visit the wing online at cafmn.org and on social media. What a sight it is to witness this piece of American history here. Please note, we do not fly these airplanes to glorify war, but
Three and then taxi to back.